Let's talk about racism. And one defining point. And I know none of you talk show monkeys of ratings, none of you news networks of ratings, none of you Washington Atlantis analysts, political experts, Harvard, Oxford, stuffed shirt, pompous, arrogant assholes. You're never going to get this. Because I pump this into your net empty domes every day of my life. Now you want to sit here and talk about some redneck that has a TV show, another redneck blonde, tranny looking bitch that talked about LeBron James telling him to shut up and just play basketball. Now you got this fat ass 12 donut, 12 sandwich eating fat bitch telling an intelligent woman that she looks like an 8. And you got Trump talking about 3 guys who are acquitted for no crime, doesn't even know anything about black history. And your so-called founding forefathers, which are nothing but a bunch of royal crusaders, Zionists, bureaucratic, oligarch, plutocrats, of theft and genocide, that no matter what you say, it's always going to equate to bullshit. Especially when it comes to racism and bigotry in this country. Because none of you inept, complacent idiots will ever get to reality of the true disease and infestation in this country of racist bigotry. And this goes back for decades and centuries. And we're not talking about in 2018. We'll go all the way back as far as 1718. Or 1618, as far as that matters. Because you white, diseased, sewer filth from Spain and England they dumped on the America's shores. This is your first origin of racism and bigotry. Because all you did was deceive, manipulate, and victimize all your lives. And we're not talking about the whole population of white people. And I clarified that before a long time ago, and I told you. And in no way, in any of my conversations, I'm including white population. Because I know that there's definitely intelligent, good white people out there, as it is with any race. But you do have that segment. You have that segment of ignorance, illiterate, incest, inbred filth. That all they have done for decades and centuries was rape, pillage, massacre, slaughter people of color. And the greatest example of this in any circumstance is the Native American Indian. And I don't care how many times you can try to deny it, cover it up. You are European disease, criminal filth of lawless animals of a jungle. And you can't even begin to talk about justice or begin to talk about humanity or begin to talk about civilized people. Because civilized people don't genocide people. Civilized people don't massacre and slaughter people. Civilized people don't steal a country from innocent people who, mind you, are willing to share their country with you. And it's only because you found out they had rich mineral resources like oil, like gold, like silver, that you decided to genocide them. You decided to take their country away from them. So you cannot ever complain about criminality or talk about criminals. Because from the very origin of your existence in this country, you were nothing but terrorists and criminals. And anybody who is affiliated with that heritage and their descendants are the white people that I'm talking about. Especially this terrorist regime you call a White House and Capitol Hill and Supreme Court. Because you talk about making laws. You can't make laws because you're thieves and criminals. Thieves and criminals can't make laws. And if that's the case, you might as well have those people sitting in prison make laws. Because they're just like you. They're criminals. They're terrorists. And I'm not just going to touch the surface. We're going to get to the core of your racist, systemic bigotry that has been in this country and in certain parts around the world for decades and centuries. It's because your very origin, especially England, Spain, Germany, Russia, and other countries that feel that somehow in that innate empty space that you call a brain, that somehow you think because of the color of your skin makes you superior. If anything, based on humanity, based on morality, based on ethics, you're inferior because you're like animals that prey upon the innocent and the pureness of humanity. Now, in a way, I don't blame this fat, dumb bitch. I just don't, because it's pretty much what I expect from that percentage of people, which we note as being the redneck trailer trash. It's pretty much what she signifies on TV. The ignorance. Just like we have the Everglades, the backwoods America, down south, Pineys in New Jersey, Appalachian Mountains. Those people who, in no shape and form, ever wanted to educate themselves. So let's be truthful. Roseanne Barr and anybody like her, your Trump pansies, all have one thing in common: incest inbreeding, illiterate, uneducated, and the inferiority of fear of people of color. We're not even going to talk about black people. We're talking about Native America, how you just tortured and just inhumanely just slaughtered these people. And now in their own country, you put them on reservations. And somehow we're supposed to have all kind of panels in 2018, but you don't even recognize what you've done in the past, what you've done down through history. And that's to Native Americans. We're not even talking about black people, just Native Americans. The hatred that you had for these people for no reason. The uncivilized, immoral actions that you took against these people for no apparent reason, but just to victimize them. And even that you put them on your slave camp reservations. You treat them inhumanely. Poverty, alcohol, drugs. And you got the gall and the audacity to talk about civil rights, to talk about a constitution. A constitution in a stolen country. That you committed genocide. Intelligence would tell you that doesn't make a bit of sense. It has no basis for civilized people. It has no basis for ethical, moral, passionate, peaceful people. That's what animals do in a jungle. They just dominate. They're weaker animals in the jungle. They become their prey. And the stupidity behind this. You say you hate these people, but yet and still you'll have sex with them. You'll eat their food. You'll allow them to teach you how to farm, which you didn't know. When they dump your diseased, illiterate asses on the shores of America. And in 2018, you're still talking about racism. Like somehow it went away. Somehow it has been cured. That somehow that it doesn't exist in a country of theft and genocide of people of color. That's the innate nonsense. Because you perpetuate for decades and centuries that same racist, bigoted, systemic hatred that you had for innocent people of color. It never stopped. And then you want to fly some fake ass flag or some national anthem or so preamble you get upset about telling people if you don't like it, leave the country. It's not your fucking country to tell people to leave. It never was. If anything, you should leave. Because you're the criminals. You're the terrorists. You're the animals that slaughtered and massacred and genocide people. So if anybody should leave, it's your asses. And it's just like with this orange face, McDonald eating, fat ass, pussy grabbing, narcissistic, xenophobic, pervert, adolescent tweeting, attention deficit ass that you have for a president now. Another criminal from Scotland. Another diseased European piece of shit. That's what I'm talking about. But you want to talk about racism. No, you don't. You never, ever wanted to address racism. Because if you ever wanted to address racism, Native American would be the first subject that would be brought up. But once again, you avoid the issue of Native America, genocide, because now you have another scapegoat, which is black people, that you forced to come over here, put them in slavery too, like the Native American Indian, for them to make you wealthy. And then again, you treat them the same way. They may not be on reservations, but their reservations are ghetto. Their reservations is economical plight, inequality. And you talk about freedom and justice for all bullshit, but people that lived in this country that you forced to come over here and enslave, that they had to fight and die for these so-called red, white, and blue bullshit civil rights and liberties and freedom. Right. Let's get to the core of it. Let's stop bullshit. Let's just get to the core of it. That 1% white European filth, diseased filth, that slaughtered a greater percentage of Native America with your diseases that you brought over here from England and Spain. But you never want to face that aspect. In fact, you'll never bring that up in the news when you talk about racism. The only crime that the American Indian ever committed was the fact of their skin was darker than the filth that they dumped over here from Spain and England. Royalty, monarchy, courts. A pedophile, sexual disease, homophobic. Sodom and Gomorrah filth and gutters of the earth. It stirs up anger in me. I'm not going to lie to you. It stirs up anger in me only because I listened to this shit all my life. And I'm 67. I even encountered this shit of racist bigotry. And even as I grew up as a young man, I had to face this shit. When I dated outside my race, a truckload of redneck idiots ran me out of town because I was dating a white girl. So every avenue of racist bigotry I've faced at some time in my life. Through work, through my residence, and just merely walking down the street and being called a nigger or Sambo or tar baby or porch monkey. Any demeaning gesture that could come out of their illiterate, uneducated, incest inbred, filthy mouths. And no, there's no way in hell am I ever going to forget it. Especially that I'm part Native American and part African American. So this Roseanne Barra, whoever you're talking to, she's right. She is a mental case. Just like her forefathers were mental cases. Just like the ones you have in the White House right now, mental cases. Because somehow you think that this country is yours. It's not, and it never will be. And somehow you think by getting panels of black people to talk about racism. How many times have you done that shit? Decades and centuries. And where are we at? Still engulfed and bottled in racist and systemic racist bigotry and hatred. What has it changed? Because you're not willing to talk about it. You're not willing to face the first fact that you live in a stolen country that you took from people of color. And whatever is going on in this society, in this country, in the states across this union, is never going to change. Because everything that you are is based on racist, bigoted hatred. And that's why it's never going to change, regardless what you say. And your bullshit laws. Your civil rights laws that you changed God knows how many times to disempower the effects of the civil rights movement. Just like the inequality of people of color. And it's not just black people. It's people of color in general. So until you come down to the realization that racism is a sickness. And she's right when she said she's mentally ill, because that mentally ill is part of that racist, bigoted sickness. And it is a disease. And we're not saying that white population, because there is a percentage of decent people in any race, regardless what it is. But you have that segment in America. First of all, the 1%, the extreme wealthy who just pillage, rape, murdered, slaughtered, and steal everything that they possess, everything, all the wealth that they possess in this world. And you have the other segment, which is redneck trash trailer park America. Much different, but the same entity of systemic, racist, bigoted hatred for people of color. And until you come to the grips and face the fact of the immoral, inhumane crime that you did against Native America, racism is not going to change. You're only fooling yourself. Because right now, as far as racism and bigotry comes, your head is up your ass. All of you. All you news commentators, all you talk show hosts, all you CNN, MSN, NBC, CBS, your head's up your ass. You're talking out of your ass because you're not going to change it. Just like you're not going to change gun laws. You'll sit here and dramatize shit day after day, year after year, decade and centuries, and you ain't changed shit. Fact of it is what we're facing right now. If you somehow evolved as civilized human beings, things would be better. But you're still confronted by the same filth, the same shit. Because the same filth and shit is still in control. Until you come to grips with what it means to be humanity, what it means to be human, to have empathy, conviction of coexisting and living in peace. This 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 subject of race, systemic racist bigotry is all bullshit. I'm out.